Alright, I hope you're enjoying your WebQuest so far. I'm going to go over the assignments that you need to work on. You should have seen these in the slideshare. I'm going to go through them one by one so that you understand exactly what I expect of you. Make sure you're answering these in some sort of a Word document or a text document that could be uploaded to the homework Cannon on Edline. First thing you're going to need to do in the first assignment is I want you to tell me 10 rules that you live by. Okay, 10 rules that you live by. For example, mine is never to lie or never to cheat. Okay, that would be one of my rules. Another one of my rules is never to miss a Yankee game. I always like to watch the Dolphin games on Sunday. These are rules that I live by. Okay, I always try to make time for my family with at least 30 minutes when I get home. These are all rules that I live by. Okay, after that, I want you to list 10 rules of the church, 10 rules that you know of the church that the Catholic Church has. Okay, whether or not it's marriage has to happen within the church. You can't get married outside of the church for it to be acknowledged by the Catholic Church. You have to have gone through your communion classes before you can receive your first communion. You have to have your confirmation before you get married, so on and so forth. I want you to just list out 10 rules that you know of the church. Okay, then I want you to list me 10 rules that you know out in the world or society. You must pay your taxes. You have to follow all traffic rules, things of that nature. Okay, this would be the podcast. You're seeing it for the hints. This is going to be done in list form. Okay, you're going to list these out. So you're going to list 10 rules that you live by, 10 rules of the church that you know or that you're familiar with. It could be commandments, teachings of the Bible, teachings that the Catholic Church has, teachings that your church that you attend has, whatever they are, and 10 list rules of the world. They could be school rules of pace. They could be rules from society. They could be rules from the government. They could be just common courtesy rules, things like that. They could be whatever you like, whatever you feel is relevant. After you've done that, after you've listed your rules out, I want you to answer these 5 questions. Make sure when you're answering the questions, you're answering in 2 to 3 sentences. You do not have to type the questions in. Just make sure that you're answering the questions in 2 to 3 sentences. Okay? This will be assignment 1. It should be labeled assignment 1. You'll have your 10 rules that you live by, your 10 rules of the church, 10 rules of the world, and then you'll answer these 5 questions in 2 to 3 sentences. Okay? And that's going to complete assignment 1. This is actually the most in-depth one. Okay. Assignment 2 is just a little bit about you reflecting on you and your church or the way you worship. Okay. How regularly do you go to church? Where do you go to church? Things of that nature. We talked a little bit about this in the beginning of the year. If you don't attend church often, that's fine. Answer the questions based on that. Okay. On what you like, what you don't like about your church, your experiences, how you've gone to church with pace. Okay. You may want to go from that angle. The third assignment, and this is going to be the final assignment, is I want you to prove to me that God exists. And this is going to sort of lay the foundation for your final project that you saw in the processes area. This is going to lay the foundation for that. So it's very important you put effort into this assignment. Okay? I want you to tell me 10 ways that we know that God exists. Okay? 10 ways that you know God exists. They could be whatever they want. They could be personal. They could be biblical. They could be things we talked about in class. I want you to list and give me 10 ways that you know God exists. Okay? And then on the flip side of that, very much like you saw in the Blasphemy Challenge, I want you to give me 10 ways that God doesn't exist. So 10 ways that you prove God exists, 10 ways that you prove God didn't exist. Once again, this needs to be done just in list form. Okay, and that's going to complete the assignments for this unit. All right, if you have any questions, please feel free to see me.